Hey again, so the demuxer, demultiplexer, decoder, whatever we want to call this thing, saga continues. I'm going to do some more stuff because I need more of these boards. I got more machines and I got more addresses I want. So this design, I think, will probably hold water on a perf board, so it'll be just a plug-in module. This is the original U15. There's going to be a pin header strip kind of under here and just to the outside of it, think kind of like a Galpile. And this is how you got to wire it up. It shouldn't be too terribly bad. The only ones I think are going to be kind of a pain in the ass are pins 15 and 1 from the new chip. I'm going to try to snake them between socket legs and whatever and get them over to that side of the board. But yeah, I think this Automite could work. So out with that, I have a better camera setup now and better light and whatever, so I can probably do a little buildy on camera here. Hopefully this video doesn't suck. So I think it's as simple as this. A little bit of perf board. There's, there's our pin headers coming through, roughly there-ish. Hang on. About like that. And then socket on top. I gotta go over one more. Like that. Because most of the pins on U15 are all bridged across except for, what was it, 4 and 5. So these two we just won't bond to the pin header on that side. And we will wire them over to that side. So yeah, I think it's really as easy as that. So let us get going here. Plug in the trusty iron and start whacking this thing together. I got a good feeling about this. I think it's gonna work. So I don't think you need to see me solder every little pin on here. We'll get the pin headers on, and I guess I'll get the pin headers on. I might pre-run some wires underneath. That'll probably be the next thing we do. Well, I don't know how well this is really going to work, but we're off to a start at least. I just put the pin headers on the bottom, and these are resistor legs. We had a sacrificial resistor. I just took one of these, I tinned it from end to end, and laid down little trace kind of thing. So I'm hoping that when I put my socket on top of this and roll solder in from the bottom side, it'll actually wick its way through and bond and be stable and happy and good. So we'll give it a shot, see what happens. Alright, well, this hacky little method actually mostly kind of worked. There was one of them here. See the third one up. I don't know how well it'll show up on there. But I just had to blob a little solder in from the outside, but the rest of them bonded pretty well. I heated them real good, flowed a bunch of solder in there, and it filled in the gaps and did what it had to do. All in all, I guess it's not absolutely terrible. But yeah, everything's bonded, nothing shorted. We left 2 of the bridges out because that, can you see that? There we go. Because that'll be our, that's coming out of our socket, right? So that's our 2 legs we lifted on the other installation. So instead of lifting them out of the socket, we can just plug it right in, and these 2 will run over to the other socket to hook up where they gotta go. So I think all in all, mostly successful, except I'm an idiot, and I put the socket in upside down. Oops. This is actually the bottom of the board where the notch is, so I melted a notch into the other side to remind me of what an idiot I am. And the other socket will go in, the notch will go the same way. It'll be good enough, but I wasn't about to pull the socket off when I had all the connections done. So anyway, On to the next. I think I'll go ahead and populate that other socket on here and start doing a little cross-connecty kind of stuff. Alright, well that was 15 minutes of my life I'll never get back. But our little purple wires are our address bus, if you want to call it that. Mini bus, two-seater bus. Guess that makes it a sports bus. Anyway, what do we have? 13 to 3 to 13 and 14 to 2 to 14. So if we flip him around to this side, I should have, what are you? You are, let me see that, yeah, 14 to 2 to 14, and 13 to 3 to 13. All right, we got an address bus. Let's figure out what we're going to hook up next. All right, I guess we might as well hook up these two gangly wires next, because, well, they're there. Why not? So this red one, all right, this is coming out of the socket, right? So this is chip 1, pins 4 and 5. The white is pin 4, the red is pin 5 coming out of the original LS139. So that has to go to the enable pins on the new chip. So that will go to, let's see, pins 1 and 15, if memory serves. Yeah, 1 and 15. Yeah, so pin 4, the white one, has got to go to pin 15 over there, and that has to go to pin 1 over there. So we will tack those guys down and figure it out from there. Alright, these are a lot easier. So we have, what did we do? The red and the white. So the red, where's my probes, is pin 5, the old VIC chip select. So now he'll activate this side of the demuxer, and pin 4 will activate that side of the demuxer. It's a fun word, demuxer. Alright, let's figure out what we want to do next. Alright, next I guess we'll do the yellow and green wires. These are the ones that are the new chip selects that are going back into the board to head out over the chips, right? So that's our 2 pins that we did not bond between the socket and the pins going into the board, right? So that's pins 4 and 5 over here. 4 is the VIC select, and 5 is the SID select. We're going to do the VIC in yellow and the SID in green, just like we did on the other ones. So, yeah, I'm going to see if I can kind of fish these wires under the socket here, under the pins here, or if not, I got to wrap them around. So let's see if we can figure out how to route these. Alright, after poking and prodding a bit and finagling wires in circles, I've come to the conclusion that I should probably hook up the power lines next, the 5-volt and ground. You know, just kind of doing all the shorter runs before you do the longer runs. So I am going to, what are we going to do? We got to, it's that way. That's the way it goes. So we have to bridge 16 to 16 and 8 to 8. And that will get us juice where we need it. So those will be quickie, easy little ones, I think. So we'll go ahead, throw those on, and move on from there. Alright, these are easy ones. Those are just straight runs. So now we have ground and we have power. Now figure out how we're going to route these bad boys. They have to go from the pin headers on 4 and 5 here. I got them run underneath. So to tack these on, I think I'll strip it off, tin them, and kind of bend them over into like a little hook shape, and just like pull them tight in there and hit them with some heat. That ought to be good. Then we got to figure out how to get them to, see, the green one's got to go Where's the green one gotta go? Green one's gotta go here? Yeah, green one's gotta go here. And the yellow ones... I'm sorry, no, the green one goes here. That's pin 4. And pin 12, right? 9, 10, 11, 12. Yep, and the yellow one's gotta go there. So let's figure out how we're gonna route them, and we'll tack those guys on next. Alright, the little hooker method worked kind of well. So you can see the yellow one is soldered on there. All I did was, here, we'll take the green one, strip a tiny bit off the end here. Oh, more than a tiny bit, an ample amount. We want an ample hooker wire. And a little bit of tin. That's probably a little too ample. And we take that and we'll just bend this a wee bit. A little more than that. That's probably good. And then just pull it into place. And there we go. He's pretty much where we want him. And we will, come on, put a little solder on the end of the hell. Come on. There we go. Put a little solder on the end of the thing there. Come on. Yeah, he's on there. So, sweet. Here we go. I will finish fishing this through somewhere and we'll hook it up to the other side. Alright, and there is the routing for our green and yellows. Quickly running out of real estate here, but thank God we're almost done. So, I just kind of snuck him under here. If I was smart, I would have pre-run all of these, not just the 2 that I did, but it wasn't that big a deal. I was able to kind of wiggle them through, you know, between the little gaps in the pin header and get them on through. So he is now hooked up to the new VIC Select, and he is hooked up to the new, or I'm sorry, the new SID Select and the new VIC Select. So really all we have left to do is put some way to get the new addresses on here. So unfortunately we can't use the 90s on this side, obviously, unless we mounted them upside down, something weird like that. It's not a terrible idea, but we'll probably just go ahead and plunk in those 3 there. Because remember from the other video, that's 400 going to the new SID, you know, well, going to the old SID, but it's a new select for it. And then 5, 6, and 700. And we can do a little resistor leg bridge on the bottom. And then on this side, you know, I'll cut the perf board here to make it as small as possible, but we'll leave this last row on there. And we'll just put some headers out of the side for 100, 200, 300. I guess I could leave headers for address 8 and 9. Might want those someday, maybe, for something. I don't know what, but nah, probably won't. I don't want extra gangly shit in there. We'll just pop the 3 on each side and call it good. If we want to add stuff later, it's not hard. So, all right. With that, I will go and pop these guys into place. Then I think we can call this thing done. Test it or something. Alright, I think we are done. Whew. Well, that was fun. Very tedious, but this will be rewarding if it actually works. We're zoomed in super close. You can see all my wonderful bodgery. But I think everything is good. We've bridged our pin headers for the breakouts. All our wiring is in. It sits below the little plastic standoff for the pins, so it shouldn't get abused or bounce up and down off anything. There are things I would have done differently. I would have pre-run all this stuff, and you know, under the pin header here, the green, red, white, and yellow, this could have been better. Something else I think might be a little bit different in a final design if I ever actually put this on a PCB is I'm going to flip-flop the sides so these two traces don't cross. So, meaning that the yellow line and the white line will be, or not the yellow and white, which one? The yellow and the white and the red. Those are the ones. That will hopefully undo a lot of the crisscross action here by moving the D000 side over here and the D400 side to this side. I think that'll make for a cleaner design. We'll see when I figure out how to use KiCad and all that other stuff. But other than flip-flopping those and maybe running these a little bit differently, I mean, that's kind of it. So I will do some quickie checkies to make sure nothing is shorted. You know, we'll just go like this down all the pins, make sure nothing's shorted. I'll check all of that later, but for now, let's check these pin headers. They are all hooked up. Let's see, our addresses hopefully did not come dislodged. They did not. And yeah, other than that, I'll check for shorts to make sure we're not going to blow up the CIA or something by doing this, and we'll plug it in and see what happens. And here's today's test subject, the 60 clone, who's in kind of a sad state of affairs. I borrowed parts out of it, like, namely the Armticid, when I was doing the Evo board and stuff, and the ROM switcher's not hooked up, a whole bunch of just hell in here. I gotta put him back together. But does he boot? Yeah, alright, good. He boots just plain old stock kernel. So what are we gonna do? We need to remove the old LS139, the debone one. And like I said earlier, these things are good. I like it. It works well. But I want more addresses. So we have our new little guy. My chips are in the right way. Let's see how he fits. Not bad. You know, this is going to be a bit of a problem with the PLA there. Maybe we have to change around how we hook up to it, or if I hook something up to it, maybe I'll direct solder it or whatever. But all in all, it's actually not too bad. It clears the other socketed chips, no problem. Everything looks real good. So, alright, let's see if the smoke comes out. No, we're dead. Well, shit. No, time to troubleshoot. Okay, there, I fixed it. We bodged the bodge. So, as it turns out, pin 15 was no longer bonded to the pin going into the socket. You know, the pin 15 from the first LS139, I should say, was no longer bonded to the socket. That hacky little resistor leg bodge thing I did underneath of the socket must have broke loose when I was fishing wires around under there. So, it was just a basic continuity error, which is great. The machine booted, and we just had to bridge 15 over to 7 because our good friends at Commodore, that's all they did on the board anyway, was tie 7 and 15 together. So the original LS139 was just bridging one side of it to the other, much like we're cascading another chip off of it now, right? Same kind of idea. So we seem happy and healthy, and yeah, all right, there's still loose shit in there. It must be doing something with the CIA selection when I tap on it. Oh, no, it's all right now, but yeah, no, the you know what? It's not in the socket all the way either. There we go. Now it's plugged in all the way. Oh, all right, yeah. Plug it in the socket all the way, it works just fine. Go figure. All right, so yeah, we're plugged in, we're working, we're good. My bodgy little module works, and it just straight up plugs in and out of the board. So obviously nobody's going to want to build this thing. It's a royal pain in the ass, and it's just not exactly stable underneath that socket. So I think this is going to be my first foray into KiCad and designing a board and all that other stuff, but no reason we can't design this with surface mount LS139s and shrink it down a little bit. We'll have to think of a better way to break out the connections. I guess the pin headers kind of work, but there's got to be a better way. And yeah, maybe, hell, even screw terminals. I would rather screw terminals on this thing. But yeah, all right, it works. So let me get set up. We'll test all the addresses, make sure they're doing what they're supposed to. Alright, so I tested everything off camera. There's no point in subjecting you to all that boring crap again. If you want to see how I did it, look at the last video. But yeah, I just poked all the addresses. Everything was fine. So yeah, to wrap up, this thing works. It's a solid design, I guess. I don't know about solid craftsmanship, but hey, if it works, it works. So I am going to venture into KiCad. I believe that's the correct pronunciation. Try to figure out how to lay out a board and, you know, send these off to one of those manufacturers or whatever, get a few of these things made up. I'll probably do it surface mount. That was a suggestion from somebody in the comments of the last video, and it's a great suggestion. You know, just a couple of surface mount 139s on here, you can shrink the whole thing down a bit. So if you know anything about KiCad and designing boards and want to give me some pointers or a quickie crash course or something, I would appreciate it. I've never used the software at all. I just installed it, and we'll try. So I guess that's that. If you have any other ideas, things to hack and solder and extra chips to add where they probably don't belong or something, let me know. I am happy to wire anything directly into anything. So anyway, that's that. Have fun. Go solder something, and we'll see you next time.